Hello, everybody. Welcome to Expression Pass here on Watchfish Network. I'm your host and an excited Eddie V. Joining me is the one, the only bossman himself, Mr. Corey Dirrig. Hello, good sir.
Ed, you sound excited. You sound like you are super excited.
I have opinions, hot takes, hot pancake takes.
Hot pancake takes, he says.
You know, pancakes with strawberry syrup is good.
Yeah, sure.
With butter on.
Oh, my mom made waffles today.
Those are good too. Nice.
We're not here to talk about waffles, Ed. We're not here to talk about the nice things people are doing.
Yes, everybody, we are talking about the game key cards and why there's
how much everybody loves them.
why it's been an upset with people and giving our personal takes on it. Personal opinions, I should say.
People are mad?
Yes, they are mad. People
I'm just being mean now.
Say that they will buy the Switch One version of games to play on their Switch 2. Some people have decided to go to other platforms to buy it over the Switch 2 versions. And mostly it's been third party, and Nintendo said a lot of their games will be on the cartridge. And all these games are available digitally. But before we get into the discussion, let's break down what a game key card is. So, if you go to the store and you buy a game for Switch 2 and they have a sign that says game key card, that means the game isn't on the actual cartridge. The game cartridge is an actual key to unlock the game digitally onto the system. So when you decide to play their game, you have to put the cartridge in so that the systems can read it and allow for you to play that game. So it's another way to get around if a game has a lot of it's a storage thing. It's a way to get around to be able to play that game without having limited storage and stuff. So if there is a game that is 46 gigabytes or something, and a 32 gig won't be able to hold it, it'll unlock that digital version. And so if you want to play that digital version, you put the key in, you put the cartridge in, it reads it and allows you to play. And if you want to buy a used version, you can buy that used version, put it into your system, and still play it. It will unlock. Like if you don't have the game, but it's a used version, you can still buy that game, put it into your system, and unlock the game and play it that way. So
it's basically the equivalent of, kind of what Microsoft is doing, the license on the disc.
Yes,
essentially.
Yeah,
it's that equivalent, right, of third-party stuff. But the reason why this is happening, I think, for the most part, is because the cartridges that Nintendo, like the proprietary cartridges for the Switch 2, are just expensive. And it's funny because Pat brought this up the other day. I don't know. We weren't talking about it. I think him and Stephanie were talking about it, and then Stephanie and I turned around and talked about it. He was bringing up is this going to hurt third party on Switch at all because of the remember the shift of third party from N64 to PlayStation, right? Because discs were so much cheaper than cartridges at the time. And obviously digital distribution is probably cheaper than a game key card. I'm no data center architect, but I would imagine that is the accurate statement. So I don't know if it'll go that far because digital is an option, and a lot of people actually prefer digital. That number since COVID has grown exponentially to where the last 3 years digital purchases have outpaced physical purchases like 3-1. But there are still a lot of people, including a lot of people in our community, that prefer the physical game. And I think that this, I think Nintendo is kind of like the last bastion where people go to buy physical games primarily,
Mm-hmm.
because the games are always on the cartridges or on the discs or whatever. And so, yeah, I think it is going to hurt a little bit, at least in the collector space. But at the same time, like, I understand why companies want to save money, especially the way the epic, economic climate is. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know how economics work, but I do know that a lot of things are changing, and a lot of things are getting more expensive because of certain things that are happening within the economy. And so, companies are trying to save money, and the United States is it's a big market,
Mm-hmm.
and Canada's raising prices on things too, because I think a lot of their stuff gets imported here and then goes over their border, right? Or like some of it, not all of it, right? But like some of it, and so they have to figure out how that works. And obviously, exchange rates are differing depending on, the US dollar is kind of the baseline, from what everybody else is
Yeah.
doing. So I don't know. It's a weird time, but at the end of the day, I think the game needs to be on the cartridge. There was some weird stuff on Switch also, right? Where like this was kind of a complaint when bigger third party games started coming to Switch One, right? Where like they would, because Nintendo was offering the 3 different sizes of cartridges for third party,
Yeah.
but third party would buy the smallest one. Like Wolfenstein is a good example, right? Of like Wolfenstein 2, yeah, part of the game was on the cartridge, like assets in the first level, but then you had to download the rest of the game, right?
Right.
And that was a major turnoff to people. Um, and then you started getting the codes in a box, right? Which people hated. So like, I don't know if this is much different than that, to be honest with you. Um, but it's still like for collectors, it kind of sucks, right? Like you want to know you're going to be able to play that game later, right? If servers go down or if the company goes out of business, or I don't know.
Yeah. People.
But then like you deal, like, to me, it's like these companies release games and then you have this massive day one patch, and then you get like 4 or 5 patches throughout the life, like your playtime of the game, where like, I mean, why even bother at this point? I mean, we talked, the big example for me, right? It was what I really like realized that this stuff was, maybe it's not worth owning the discs anymore for Xbox and PlayStation, was like Shadow of the Tomb Raider has a totally different ending on the disc than what's in the game.
Mm-hmm.
A totally different ending, because they went and the game went gold, uh and then they focus tested the ending, and people didn't like the ending, so they delayed the game, and they fixed the ending, right? And like, if you don't patch the game, you get that ending and like a bunch of bugs, right? Like that's what's on the disc. And so I don't know, man. It's I don't really know how to like comfort people in this, because I do think there are certain games that deserve to be on the cartridge, and certain games that just won't be able to. Like, I'm shocked Cyberpunk fit on a
Yeah.
cartridge.
I mean, it's mostly a license thing because people are concerned that if the license of a game gets pulled, they're not able to play the game. So they have, that cartridge won't even matter. But I'm like, if you got the game saved on your system, it should read the game, because like once the game is on your system, it's not an internet thing anymore. It just put the cartridge in, it reads the game, it reads the cartridge in, you unlock the game and you play it. And people
Hmm.
fear that if they take that game off their system, they won't be able to play no more. No, really, pretty much everything I think just goes into the cloud. Um, You know, because the key. I mean, I'm assuming the cartridge will still have that the code for the key to unlock the game for it. So um I think it's more of a license thing. People are really
Mhm.
worried about, and this is the first time that this is happening. Everybody, with the game key card. I know Zion from.
Well, it's not the first time this is happening. It's just the first time this is happening in a physical way,
Mhm.
right? I mean, we just went over multiple ways about how this has been happening since the beginning of like essentially the Xbox One and PS4 generation of like these games being, and this was the big fear, right? When during the Xbox 360 and PS3 days when discs, like when these companies started asking you to install the game onto the hard drive of the console,
Right.
right? And people were like, why would we do that? And then there were companies actively out there saying, no, don't do that. Like I remember Halo 3 was a huge one of like Bungie saying, please don't install the game on your hard drive because it actually messes the game up in some ways. And so like, you know, people were concerned about installing the game off of the disc onto their hard drive, on console at least. And now it's just like, oh well, I don't even know if I can even play the game off of the disc anymore.
Yeah, that's happened with my
Um,
Xbox, like my Xbox One and my Series X. Like,
mhm,
even if the game is on the disc, I can't install it without having an internet connection at
mhm.
all. I go
Yeah, yeah, it sucks.
like if I have it already installed on my system, then I could put the CD in or the physical disc in and play it because it has that information. Same thing
Hmm.
with PlayStation. I got to do the same thing. I got to install it so it can read the game and play it. You
Hmm.
know, I think people just think that because of the Switch had that, you know, you put the cartridge in and you play the game right off the cartridge. That should be the same thing for Switch. But you know, if it's third party, they're making that decision to do it. Nintendo's not forcing them to do it. You know, so for the collectors, are you? I think the thing, and I said this in Powerbox, is that if you're upset about it and you want to buy your games on other platforms, you can. That's your right. Um, but I'm like, it doesn't change the fact that you can't play the game. It's just a different way on how to play the game, and that's it.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, yeah, and to that point, I just kind of accepted that. Um, and I've gone back and forth on like, should I be having the discs? Should I not? Should I be having the cartridges? Should I not? And I don't know. I go through these phases where like, oh, I should have kept that. So I go and buy a bunch of stuff, and then I'm like, ah, I shouldn't have bought that. It's just a waste of money. And like, I argue with myself,
Mm.
essentially. Uh, but like, it's just I mean, the consoles aren't even coming with disk drives anymore, right? You have to buy the disk drive separate. So it's like this whole thing that you have to like
It's
really.
Yeah, it's the SDD now. Like that's the drive now. You know,
Mhm.
and like with PlayStation
Yeah.
with PlayStation, you got to buy if you want extra storage, you got to buy SDD and install it yourself. With Microsoft, you got the USB SDD that you plug into your system.
Hmm.
With Switch, you got
Yeah.
the micro SD Express. So it's for the storage stuff. So I think people just are making a big deal about it. Yes, you can't put it in. I'm like, who's bringing their Switch to the store to buy the new game and then plugging it in to play? You want to take that game home and play it on your TV.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard because like I actually like because that this started happening with collector's editions too. I think the first one I remember this happening with
Mhm.
was Wolfenstein 1, where like the collector's edition didn't even come with the game. right?
Yeah.
And now it's just kind of normal that most collector's editions don't come with the game, or you have the option to buy it without the game, right? Like my Clair Obscure Expedition 33 collector's edition is not coming with the game. Although it is a second print of this, and they did say it up front that, it wasn't coming with the game, but still, like, there was an option to have it with the game. So I think, I don't know. I almost feel like this is almost a cheap version of that, where like I can at least have the game box on my shelf to have something to look at,
Right.
because I think that's a big part of it too. Is like people like to have things,
Mm-hmm.
physical things that they can touch and have on their shelves. Like I have a ton of Blu-ray movies over here.
Same.
Ask me when the last time I actually watched one of these was. I can tell you, our power went out here. No, we didn't have internet. No, what was it? Our internet was out here at the new house when we moved in.
Yes.
Because we were trying to like figure out the whole internet situation. And so like my daughter wanted to watch a movie or watch something. I'm like, okay, let's just walk on over here. And, we watched Moana off the Blu-ray disc, which was like, I had to install the Blu-ray app on my Xbox because I didn't have it, but we didn't have the internet. So like it like somehow created a Blu-ray app from the disc or something weird. I don't know. Or like it updated an app and turned it into the Blu-ray app. I don't know. It did something weird.
That's the weird.
Didn't have the Blu-ray app
I thought you could. Oh,
somehow.
yes, it's right. It does have an app with those 30
Or
seconds.
maybe it's like hidden in the background and then it like wakes it up when it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's but yeah, and like I had to like, that was the first time I actually had to like sit there and tell Riley how we used to watch movies and TV shows. Like we used to have to buy, a disc or like a VHS tape and stick it in a machine that would play it on the
Mm-hmm.
TV. Now it's like, obviously Netflix and Disney Plus, we watch a lot of that and they know how to work that. But like, if you put a DVD player in front of them, I don't know if they know how it would work.
And
Or God forbid a VHS tape and rewinding stuff.
right,
Jeez, my kids can't even pick up their toys.
and a lot of stuff is depending on the internet. So, regardless, if even if you have a physical, you might have a buggy, incomplete game, and you may have to still download a patch or something so that it will play right. So, if you get the game key card, you're going to still have to update the game and play it. And then once it's on your system, like I said, even if you don't have the internet, you can just pop it in and play it. So I think people are just
Yeah.
making a big fuss over nothing.
Yeah. I feel like, I just feel like there's a generation coming up behind us that, as much as I hate to say it, our generation playing games is shrinking,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's just a lot less people our age playing games, whether they've grown out of it or don't have time or just don't enjoy it anymore, right? Like they're just not playing games. And and this also is one of the talking points of, Xbox is putting a lot of their games on other platforms now, and PlayStation is hiring that position to have some sort of multi-platform strategy. And kids are just, they're attached to games. It's almost like sports teams, essentially. Like instead of like being attached to Xbox and PlayStation, they're attached to Fortnite or Roblox or Minecraft or, Apex Legends or these platforms that you play on,
Mm-hmm.
that you can play anywhere, right? Like that's the big thing. That's why Play Anywhere is such a big deal to Xbox, is because you can already do that with these games essentially that aren't theirs except for Minecraft, right? Like you play Fortnite on Switch 2, you play it in the cloud, you play it on, your Xbox. It's all cross progression. Like the progression you make here, you can make over here, you can make over here, and it's all, you know,
and and
um, and they're just less attached to these. They're just less attached to these platforms, and I think, you know, not that we're not that this is the topic for this show, but like I think that's why you see something like Donkey Kong Bonanza taking them essentially like almost like a Minecraft approach in terms of destruction, right? Where you can kind of destroy anything and play in this big sandbox, because that's what kids want to do. They want to play in the sandbox,
right,
right? And
they're in a generation where they are not playing video games that gives them challenge, that gives them level, that's giving them narrative and stories and stuff, you know.
I wouldn't say it's not giving them level. I would say it's more
Well,
like
like
it's a social aspect. It's the team based aspect. It's what they do. It's like when we would used to go out and like go to the movies with our friends or whatever, and like come home and play video games by ourselves. That's not how video games are consumed anymore.
right, and that's what I'm saying. They are not growing up with that, you know. Because like if you throw in a game like Final Fight or something, they probably wouldn't know what to do, and they'll get upset at the fact that if they get a game over or learning what a game over is, they feel like that ruins their experience because they haven't grown up with that. You know, they stuff like Minecraft and Fortnite and everything like that is a safety net because it means that, you know, of course you could play it continuously, but it's no, it doesn't make you feel like um it doesn't put you in a negative mood because you lost. You know, it puts you in the mood that um if it could keep you playing because you feel like you're winning and having fun and stuff, that's all that matters. But if you want to understand what a video game is, you have to go through levels. You know, a stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 thing. You have to die and lose and remember level design and progression and stuff. And there's just kids who haven't learned that. You know, they haven't grown up with that because like if it's a parent or whoever is buying the game, you know, is like not giving that to them, and they're not playing with somebody to learn that, you know, having people teach them, the gaming to them is going to be like it's going to be it's going to continue to be different, and they won't be able to grow up with video games because they're stuck on these small certain type of games and stuff. You know, even with like Stardew Valley and like some of the farming games and stuff, they're like, of course, that's simulator and resource kind of games. But like some of those games have challenges, and some people might feel like if I could do this challenge, it'll help me grow my farm, so I'll do them. I'll do this kind of quest. But like I said, put something like Final Fight in front of them. They wouldn't know what to do. They wouldn't know what the skills it takes to do to finish a beat 'em up and why it's going level to level and everything.
Yeah, but maybe they don't want to, right? They want to know what their Fortnite stats are. They want to know, you know, how many more holes they have to dig in Minecraft to build a glass house. I don't know how they get
right.
I'm just throwing that.
Right. So I think that's why, you know, if we're gonna talk about video games and stuff and people playing them, we gotta expose them to, definitely for kids, we gotta expose them to challenge. I'm like, and we have to let them lose.
I mean, I think but that's, I mean, they play games where they do that. They play Fortnite
but see,
and Apex. Those are challenging games that they can lose at.
But that's against other players. They grasp it. They grasp that. But when there's no one on the other end to challenge them, what happens when it's the game itself that is challenging them? You know, what is it about a Mega Man level that's going to seem difficult, even though it's these are the basics and stuff, and you got to learn how to jump, you got to learn how to time. You know, I think, and I don't have kids or anything, but like my skills in video games is different than kids skills in video games today, in a sense, because I grew up learning different games and playing them and stuff. Yeah, I might not be good at Fortnite or Apex Legends, but I'm good at Titanfall. I'm good at Halo, GoldenEye. I'm good at first person shooters, doing the levels and campaigns and stuff. And I don't think kids like grasp that. Like I could play Devil May Cry. I could play a Souls game if I want to stay there and everything. But like if I'm forced to play a Souls game, you should be forced to play Mega Man if you never played the Mega Man game
I
before.
mean, I don't think anybody should be forced to play anything, but
Well, yeah,
um,
but I'm just throwing that as an example, and I think that's what,
it's talking about torturing kids here.
and I think that's, you know, I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, and so, you know, like we video games is always going to be for a different generation, you know, um, and everything. It's just that how are we teaching kids to play those games? I know that we were talking about game key cards and stuff, but like the medium is changing. It's always going to evolve, and it's going to get to a point where you know, at Microsoft, Sony, and whoever else decides to make a console, um, it's going to change on how you acquire games. You know, Steam is still doing digital games and stuff, but like you need a key. So it's the same thing. You have to pay for it to play the game, even though it's not physical. And then on top of that, um I don't think I don't I think I'm assuming some Steam games save to your hard drive. Or do you have to play those games online? I wonder.
I mean, they have DRM attached to them, but your progress probably similar to like Xbox. They probably save locally, but they're also uploaded to the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I just and I think that's I think you look at these kind of key card things, right? And like it's almost like downloading your save from the cloud, and right, or like you kind of look at it and you're like, oh yeah, I guess the game is saved locally here, but I guess I can download it, but I have to have this card, and I don't know. It doesn't work like that. I know that's not how the cloud works, but I was trying to a smooth transition back into the main topic, and it just didn't work. Crashed and burned. But
no, but
but
I think with the game key card thing, I think people are just making a big fuss because it's a change in acquiring games. That's all to it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think I don't know. I feel like games are just changing, like you said, and kids don't care about physical media, and these companies want to save money,
Adults don't
and
care
they
about
are just
physical
coming
media
together.
sometimes, or some adults, I should
I mean,
say.
I really don't care about physical like movies or music or anything. Games are the only thing that I have like some sort of weird. I need to collect things, and I think that's because that's what we did when we grew up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we bought video games, and you had to go buy them at the store. And I'm saying and movies were like this too, right? But like I don't know what I'm trying to say. Games are the things that I am more attached to than anything else. So those are the things that I want to have tangibly, physically. And I still do have some physical games that I absolutely love, right? Just to have on my shelf, or like I want all the Zelda games physically, so like I'm gonna buy them because I love that series. But like I don't know, I don't have any PlayStation 4 or 5 games physically.
And
Like
and PlayStation 4, everybody made that was the whole kerfuffle, even with Xbox. was kind of, I mean, besides the, checking online and stuff, was that everybody wanted physical for PlayStation games, and they wanted, without having to check the
Hmm.
stuff and everything. And when all of that stuff happened with Xbox, that made people be like, I'm going to continue to buy my games on PlayStation 4 physically. And then all of that kind of changed in the sense.
Hmm.
And now if you look at stores, and we talked this about this in one up, I'm like, not one up in Power Block episodes, that there's stores who are limiting their physical game selections for pretty much all three systems.
Hmm.
So it wouldn't even matter, with the game key card and or buying the physical games. Like, if you want to play the game, you can still buy it digitally. That's up to you. And understand that hopefully you got a big storage um piece of hardware. Or, if the game is a game key card and you don't want to buy the digital version, that might be your only option for the Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, it's not
Hmm.
stopping you from acquiring the game and playing it and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think
Especially,
I
uh,
don't know. I wonder. I do wonder if Nintendo will end up. Um, I do wonder if they'll end up doing smaller cards for companies.
I mean, uh, probably not that I know of or anything.
I mean, yeah, probably not, but I almost feel like they should.
And plus, uh, before we wrap up and head out on this episode, if you're a person who got all of these games and they just become your backlog games, like you don't open them, or you do open them, play them for 5 seconds, and then put it away and never go back to them until you feel like you're ready. The game key card, you know, whether it's physical or on a game key card, wouldn't even make a difference. Or even if you play it digitally, if you're not ready to play that game in full, then what is this? What is this temperament upset about? You're gonna wait until you play that game. And
Hmm.
as long as that company is alive, or and a lot of games, a lot of companies who have went out of business, a lot of their games are still on some kind of store that you could buy and play.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean I think that's the nice thing with these collections too that have been coming out, right? Like classic games are getting so much harder to
Mm-hmm.
find, right? And I think that's like the bigger thing is like these old games that are hard to find or like expensive to buy on secondhand on consoles that are 40 years old, 35, 40 years old. Like, okay, yeah, I think having a physical edition of the Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection is something I would love to have because, you know, whether I have some of those games or not, whether, you know, I would like to buy those games or not. Again, if I got rid of them, like this is a great collection to have. And they're all those games, I think, except for like there are a couple that aren't on the cartridge, which is upsetting. But like for the most part, like all the games I care about are on the cartridge, right? The arcade games,
Mm-hmm.
the Genesis game, the Super Nintendo game, the early NES games, like those are all there on the cartridge, preserved with art and box scans and manual scans and very nice concept art and multiple language. It's all there. Digital Eclipse is doing a great job, and they just announced that the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection will be a cartridge, right? And I think for archival purposes, like those are good to have on cartridge. But then you get the collections like the Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and 2 on Switch. The second collection is a download only, right? Or like the Final Fantasy X HD remasters, 10.2 is as a download, right? Only 10 is on the cartridge. And so those are problems too, that I think need remedied. And I feel like I feel like putting them on the cartridge is much safer than putting them on a disc, because at some point down the line, disc degradation is going to happen. You're seeing it with PS1 games now. You're seeing it with Saturn games now, where like the discs are so old, they're starting to decay because they're not being used, they're not being played.
Mm-hmm.
They're either in some sort of storage or on a shelf somewhere that maybe may or may not be taken care of. Like, those games are starting to degrade.
Yeah.
Old CDs are starting to degrade. And that's a problem too, you know, as we get older and that medium, that media gets older. And, you know, obviously I think Blu-rays are probably more thought out than a CD was back in the 90s, right? But like, at the end of the day, this stuff's gonna degrade, and like, you know,
Yeah.
it's hard, man. This is a hard conversation, and it's not one that can easily be solved in a digital age. You
All
know,
right.
it's just not. Stuff is made to be broken. Stuff is made to go away at some point, and sadly, like, video games that's where we're at. I mean, they're old Hollywood, when those studios used to burn down sometimes, like they would lose hundreds of films. There are just films that you can't watch anymore that were important because they lost the reels,
Yeah.
you know? But also, like, if an EMP goes off, you know, in some sort of world war, you know, like, all the digital stuff will cease to exist. So, like, what do you do then? You know, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the Book of Eli, but that's essentially what it's about. It's like they never, like, all the entire world's Bible was gone, right? Like, uh there wasn't a King James translation of the Bible. And, like, spoilers for the movie, I guess. But like, that's like the whole point of the movie, is him trying to get across to the safe haven of San Francisco in this post-apocalyptic America, so he can deliver this, you know, this last remaining copy of the Bible, essentially.
Right.
um
I fell asleep on
it's
that
a good movie,
movie.
by the way.
I was.
I really liked that
I
movie.
did.
But anyways, I also saw it a long time ago, so I don't know. I don't know if I would like it now, but I liked it
And
then.
I seen the. Did I have seen it on DVD? I think I did DVD or Blu-ray. I know I watched it physically and everything. But I think it was like way after it came out of the movies. I think it was like a year. It had already been like on physical media, but I think it was like a year after it had been out that I watched it. And I was just like, oh, because everybody was talking about how good it is, and then I watched it, got into the movie for 10 minutes and zonked out. I was like, I'm done. Like, nothing that's happening in this movie. They talking about some nonsense. I'm going to bed and blacked out. Fell into darkness.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
But look, so
Like I said, I don't know if I would really care about it now. It's just, when I saw it, I guess I was like in the mood to watch it, and I liked it. So whatever, it's fine.
so we're gonna wrap it up here. I would say
Are we?
Switch 2 has a lot of great games. So whether they're gonna be on the cartridge or not, if you are interested in that game, I think get it. I think people are just making a fuss about it without even trying to buy it, and stuff, and enjoy the games and stuff. So if they, like I said, if they want to go other places and everything, to them, for a third party, because they put out these different versions, that helps that one particular game make units. So they'll be like, okay, yeah, you didn't buy it on Switch, but you bought it on Xbox. That still help us with sales to recoup this budget.
Yeah. Plus, like, I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't say I wouldn't count on the internet ever going away, right? But like, I think the key card I think it's an elegant solution to multiple problems that we can't easily solve. Not that this solves that problem, but it does create an option for people.
Yes.
So like, I think the key card. I think the bigger problem is how ugly the warning on the box looks.
Oh,
that's a problem.
that don't matter to me because I'm not going to look at the box until I put the game away.
I know it's just like it's such an eyesore, man. When you put it on the shelf, like not on your shelf, but like when you walk into like Target or Walmart, and you see like half the box is taken up by this warning label. But like, I don't know. I've kind of shifted my thought as we've been talking about this, right? Like, because Stephanie asked me about this on the direct recap show, about the key card stuff, and I was like, I don't know. I think it's kind of dumb, but I do think they are, with the situation with the expensive cartridges and the digital future and the way games are updated these days. I think this is an elegant solution for people who want a physical collection, and there's just not really a way to get these games physically at the moment. Like whether it's Xbox, PlayStation, whatever, right? Like, so I mean, one of my favorite games of all time doesn't even have a physical collection and doesn't even have a physical disc or cartridge in Hellblade 2.
Right.
There's no physical of that game anywhere. There's no merch of that game anywhere. There's no collectibles of that game anywhere. So if Microsoft ever goes away, or Ninja Theory or that game ever goes away, who's going to remember? You're going to look at my achievements? No. Like that's the only record of that game existing. If that game ever goes away, is the achievements I have for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I do hope that it gets a physical at some point, even if it's on PlayStation or Switch 2 or whatever. But, or you go through a company like Limited Run, right, and hope you get a numbered copy, right? Because they're publishing physical copies. They are publishing key cards, but they also said all of the numbered versions of their games will be on the cartridge, every single one.
You're gonna have to wait a year or two, but you'll get it.
Yeah, that's a different problem for another discussion.
But that's pretty much all I have to say, Corey. Like I'm doing an editorial for it for Boss Rush.
Well, if you would have asked me like a year ago, I would have been like, this is such a dumb solution. I mean, I obviously thought it was dumb on Thursday when we did the direct recap show, but like, I don't know. It's a hard problem to solve that I don't think anybody has the right answer to. And, that's just,
like I said,
it's just where we're
the
at.
medium is changing.
Yeah.
So, but I do have two games that use the game key card. I haven't started them yet, but I'm going to put them into my Switch 2 and download them and play them.
Yeah. Well, then, like, again, sorry, I know we're wrapping up, but like, then you have like the Switch 1, like Nintendo games proper, like the Switch 1 games, right, that have upgrade paths to Switch 2. And I know like the upgrade path is on the Switch 2 cartridge, right? But like, I don't know. I feel like that's a weird problem too. I don't know. Whatever. Not important at this time. It's just weird. Anyways, save me, Ed. Get me out of here.
So everybody, that is going to be it for this episode of Expansion Pass. We want to hear what you guys think about game key cards. Are you refusing to get them because you are a physical collector? Or, are you going to be willing to even take a chance and buy a lot of games on the game key card and just, see what happens over time? Because I think if you're trying to force third parties to make everything physical, it may not work and everything, and that stuff could actually make games not even appear on a Nintendo console. So, we really do want to hear from you guys. So with that, everybody, have a great day, have a great night, have a great weekend whenever you hear this episode, and we'll see you next time on Next Special Pass. Bye, everybody.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Christian S. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.